You clicked on this video because you wanted to learn how to make chainmail. You wanted to know my secret. Well, maybe I don't want to share it with you because I don't think you're ready. Ready to learn how to make butted end mail, which is perfect for cosplaying or LARPing or doing anything else like shopping at Aldi like a weirdo. I'm going to show you today how to make perfect, almost perfect, lower end quality chainmail. So first up, you're going to want a pair of needle nose pliers. I have a pair here that I like to use. Don't use this. This is garbage. Okay, make sure it's strong. It can hold the wire securely. Next up, you're going to need a pair of wire snippers. I was using these. They made my wrists a little tired, so I went out and I bought, these are called concrete nippers at Lowe's. They were like 20 bucks, but they're definitely worth the investment. They cut the wire really easily, and they have a more ergonomic hand positioning. I'll show you that later. For our wire, we're going to be using 16 gauge rebar tire wire. This is annealed iron wire that also happens to have some kind of oil coating on it, which is useful to prevent rust. It kind of gets on your hands though, so you want to make sure you're wearing gloves at specific steps in the process. This is my ring turning jig. That sounds pretty official. Anyway, it is literally just a 2x4 with a couple boards slapped. I screwed these down here, left this open. So what's important is you want this rod to be able to slide in and out, so when you turn the rings you can pull them off. Okay, so for this thing I literally just had a straight bar. I bent it this way and then bent it back so it kind of has a handle on it. So for an attaching point for our wire, what we're going to want to do is right here, I took a drill bit that was a little bit bigger than the wire, drilled through the rod, which I gave myself like an inch, maybe 1 3/4 inches away from the end here, so I have space to maneuver. And then I deburred it with a slightly bigger drill bit, just so there are no sharp angles. You don't want angles that can mark up your wire. For this demo, I'm going to be finishing up my first roll of wire. This wire is really oily. You don't want that touching your fingers. So what I did was I took a piece of wood and I drilled a hole through it. That just slides on that wire, and it helps me get better control on where the wire goes. I would suggest you use a hardwood for this. I used a pine block. A pine block? I used a pine block, and it worked out okay, but I think a more durable version would have suited me better. Alright, we have our block on. We're going to lead a little bit of the wire here. Push it through. Just like that, just so a little sticking through. And then we're going to turn our crank. Once over, and this is important, you need to line up so they're not overlapping, but that each one is right next to the other. So our first couple rolls are really important because they dictate how our final spool is going to turn out. What I want you to do when you're turning is to make sure to keep the wire tight so your rings are nice and even. Okay, I have a glove on now. The camera died. What a weakling. Okay, so now that we're done turning, we're going to snip off this excess wire at the end. And as close as we can, just snip that off of there. Okay, so there is a reason we cut our hole a couple inches away from the board. And that's so we can tug on this handle and push it forward. And that'll give us room to clip the wire off. So here, I'm just gonna rotate the handle. You can see our wire in our hole. So I'm gonna put my glove on. And what I'm actually gonna do is just pull this a little to expand that first link so we have an easier time cutting it off with our wire snips. Just like that. Pull that plug, and now this should spin freely. Okay, so now we're gonna pull our handle out. And we have a little spool of wire. Alright, make sure to keep wearing your gloves so you don't get that oil on you. See how this first loop is expanded away? We don't want to keep that one. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our nippers here and just clip that bit off. There you go. Just like that. Alright, now that you know the process, you can make as many rings as you'd like. I'm going to start making a shirt, because I think that'd be pretty fun. So I might make updates on that. But, good luck to you, and I'll see you later.